Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Bundesliga Show, brought to you by Over the Bar. We're back tonight for our featured four show, reviewing Matchday 4 of Bundesliga. Looking forward to getting stuck into our games this evening. How are you, Mark? You're just back from your long trip away, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it seems as though like every show I'm doing from a different location at the moment, doesn't I? But yeah, I'm back in D nowadays. So yeah, for the foreseeable, obviously no holidays planned for a good while now. I'm pretty much exhausted on my holidays for the year. So yeah, it's going to be basically all Bundesliga show from here on in, really.
Good stuff, good stuff. So yeah, before we get cracking, of course, we are in association with our two partners this season, Bundesliga Boxes and Bully News. So obviously, Bundesliga Boxes are, the go-to company for genuine, authentic German football t-shirts. A couple just sat behind me right here that I've got off them in the years of going with them. So brilliant to have them on board. And of course, Bully News, who we do all our fantasy football videos with, proving to be incredibly popular this season, which is brilliant. So good stuff. Thank you both for being our partners again this season. And indeed, please do drop us a like on the video. If your team's done well this weekend, just go on, let us know, comment along, come in and say hello. No footy on the box, as I've mentioned on Twitter earlier on today. So come along, join us, say hello. Whether you agree with our ordering of the games or anything else, obviously just drop in and say hello. That'd be brilliant. And of course, please do subscribe. We're closing in on 650 now, which is really nice. But obviously, we have our eyes set on much bigger figures. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure you drop us a like and subscribe as well to make sure you don't miss out on any of the content that we've got coming out at the moment. We did 3 videos last week actually. So I had a brilliant chat with Halbveer, Fergal of Halbveer, which was great fun last week. Obviously, we had our fantasy football, of course, goes without saying, in our brand new type monthly show, which is our top 10 series that we're doing once a month. And we started off with strikers, best strikers in the Bundesliga since the year 2000. So make sure you go check that out and let us know your thoughts on that one. But over to you then, Mark, to start our countdown for Matchweek 4's 4th place in our list.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So obviously, again, I'll just bring up the scores as well on the bottom, as you can see. Yeah. So yeah, Freiburg started off the weekend with a 1-0 win, and then Leipzig getting the first win of the season actually with via a double from Nkunku, defeating still winless Wolfsburg. Leverkusen with that 3-0 win in Mainz. Hoffenheim continued their good start with a 1-0 win over Augsburg. They're on 3 wins from 4, 9 points now, so good start for them and their new manager. Dortmund, 3 wins from 4 as well. A first goal from Anthony Modeste, getting a win over still winless Hertha Berlin. Union with that 6-1 win that we'll talk about, not surprisingly, a little bit more later. Ridiculous result, really, that one, wasn't it? Massive win. Then, obviously Bayern Munich closing off the Saturday with a 1-1 draw against Gladbach. The first time they've dropped points, I think, let's be honest, pretty much thanks to Sommer and also a backs-to-the-wall effort from Gladbach, who once again deny Bayern Munich the win, incredibly. Then, moving on to Sunday, there was a rare 0-0. I always say that when there's a 0-0, don't I? But there aren't many 0-0s in the Bundesliga. It was between FC Köln and Stuttgart. Probably shouldn't have been 0-0, should it, Rory? Especially if you're a Stuttgart fan, but it was in the end 0-0. Then, closing off Sunday with that ridiculous 4-3 win for Frankfurt over Werder Bremen. So, let's start off our individual countdown as well with, what some people might be surprised that we decided to plumb for this game in the top 4. But for me, I think both me and Rory agreed that it was a fantastic game. I think, Rory, you watched this game live, didn't you? I watched it on replay. But at the time, I thought 1-0, really, a goal through a penalty. But then I watched the highlights and I realized exactly what Rory meant. I mean, it was an absolute humdinger of a match, really, wasn't it? And for me, I think Bochum can consider themselves very unlucky, really, to come away from this game still without a point on the board, really. I mean, just wasn't to be for them. And I think we often say in football, don't we, that teams down at the bottom, they just don't get the rub of the green. And for me, this was a case of that against a very, very good SC Freiburg side, but I don't think they really played at the very top of the game on Friday night, but they still got the win. Yeah, early on the game, actually, it was Bochum who started the better as well. That man Asano, who looks to be probably Bochum's best attacking player this season, doesn't he? Obviously, he finished last season really well, the Japanese international. He had a really, really good shot from Flecken. Obviously, Flecken did earn a lot of praise as well from Christian Streich after the game. Obviously, his last home game was that horrendous error against Dortmund, but he was one of the men of the match, really, if not the man of the match, let's be honest, for Freiburg. Forced a good save from him early doors. But then it was back for, obviously, Freiburg started to play a lot better then. And that man, Grigoric, obviously, he started quite well, hasn't he, really, in a show. He was causing problems for the Bochum defence. Bochum going with Heinz and Masovic as that centre-half partnership. They've not really found a centre-half partnership that works this season so far, obviously, after losing a few key players, Leach and obviously Bella Kotchap as well. That was the first choice centre-half partnership last season, but neither of them are still at the club. But yeah, I think the big chance of the first half really fell to that man Salai. Like, it was a bit of a kind of scramble in front of the goal, and then he should have knocked it in. Really, he had all the space of the goal to aim for, and he just smashed it wide. Basically, a poor miss really from Salai. But Freiburg didn't do that much in the first half. A few half chances, but I would say Bochum, they look quite comfortable. And obviously, one thing I haven't mentioned is the rain as well in the southwest of Germany for this game. I think, Rory, you texted me about half an hour before the game saying you thought it was going to get called off. I was out at the time. But then I obviously realised that the game had started. But yeah, I watched the highlights, and there were times when it looked like they were playing on a pool in a swimming pool, let's be honest there. But to be honest, considering the weather conditions, it was a great game. But it did go in at halftime at 0-0, Rory. And I would say really the second half was really where most of the action happened, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was some, obviously, some crazy kind of spells of play that happened in the second half. Obviously, might be owing to the weather, but Freiburg are obviously out to kind of obviously get themselves an even more extended lead, but they just couldn't do it. And yeah, for me, they looked comfortable in parts, but also Bochum came forward at times and looked like they were going to kind of do a bit of a smash and grab. Obviously, the Bochum Messi Gerrit Holtmann was consider himself very unlucky. He hit the post once, cutting inside, had a good effort, which smashed off the left-hand post and out. And then later on, right at the end of the game, he had a chance where he's picked out at the back post from a free kick. Very poor marking from Freiburg uncharacteristically. And he had a shot which is deflected onto the bar and out. But in between this, there are some crazy misses from Freiburg. Obviously, they got forward ones, and obviously the one that sticks out from people that I've probably seen the shorter highlights is the chance that fell to Gregorovic. I think it was a deflected shot from Grifo, so he got his head onto it, brilliantly saved by Reimann, and then he had his chance to follow, which he smashed onto the post, which then fell to Grifo, and his shot then was saved by Reimann. And obviously that compared to the one that they had in the first half, just crazy how they managed to score, obviously at least on one occasion in the first half or the second half via that method. And obviously they had a really good chance. Was it a man-made chance? The fact super sub Niels Peterson came on, brought down a long ball off his chest. I think he hit on the half volley, smashed against the bar and out. So the upright was hit at least twice for both teams. And yeah, it was a really exciting second half of the fact, like you say, it finished 1-0. And on the face of it, you kind of think, oh, well, it's not really the most entertaining game, but obviously if you watched it live, you would really enjoyed it like I did. So yeah, important for Freiburg for their sake that they held on. Their impressive start continues. Really, really pleased how well they're doing. There's some good performances out there, but I think their forward line, the likes of Grifo, Doan, Gregorovic, Salai, they probably would have been disappointed to have only got that one goal from a missed penalty, which it took Grifo 3 attempts just to get that one in the back of the net. So Reimann had such a good game because he didn't have his best. He hasn't had his best start to the season, Reimann, but he gave away the penalty as well, but he saved it. So he's a bit of hero to zero, but he had a really good game overall. So I kind of feel sorry for him in that context that he is on the losing side because he made some terrific saves. But yeah, entertaining game to kickstart the weekend. Brilliant start for Freiburg. Bochum just look, they try, they huffed and they puffed, as you mentioned, Asano, Holtman, obviously Simon Zola. But yeah, they just can't get that W or that point just at the moment. So they're looking like they're struggling a little bit, Bochum, but they'll be obviously Rice will be a lot more happier with the performance. There's a lot of confusion and speculation marker about his future as well. Thomas Rice, in terms of Bochum, I think they offered him a contract extension, but the terms weren't accepted. So that's obviously got to be another thing that's in the air. So a couple of things that Bochum need to kind of sort out within their own house, and maybe that will help with performances on the pitch.
Yeah, I think it's just incredible. Like, the Bochum are one of those sides that didn't want last season to finish at all, did they? They got that famous win against rivals Dortmund. They got a win over Bayern Munich, scoring 4 goals in both those games. But, it just proves that, the summer transfer window wasn't kind to Bochum at all, let's be honest. They lost a plethora of key players, quite a few of them to like bottom half rivals in the Bundesliga as well. That's the other problem. And, for me, there's no real signings in there that have really stuck out and said, yeah, he's a great signing, but I think obviously this was the best performance of the season. No one will deny that. They created chances. They looked like a side that could score goals in this game, but ultimately it's still a loss, and as you say, the longer that it goes without a win, you're going to start looking at comparisons with Fürth from last season, who famously only had 1 point from, was it the first 10 or 11 games, and they were pretty much relegated at that point, really, So Bochum are going to have to get a win before long, but, it's a tough Bundesliga this year, and there's no easy games. So, obviously battered last week against Bayern, and then obviously very, very tough game against Freiburg, one of the up-and-coming sides in the Bundesliga, no question about that. So, yeah, we'll just have to see where they can go. As for Freiburg, it's another win. They're just getting so good at winning games of football, aren't they? They won a lot of games last season. They're already on a 75% win rate this season, and, you just can't see them stopping at the moment, that's for sure. Okay, so let's move on to game number 3. So it was, some people might be a bit surprised at this result because obviously Mainz before the game had 7 points from the first 3 games, were unbeaten, and had only conceded 2 goals in the first 3 games. Meanwhile, Leverkusen had a complete and utter nightmare, let's be honest. Eliminated from the cup after losing to a non-league team. And then obviously losing the first 3 games, including a 3-0 home schooling against Hoffenheim last week. But yeah, this was the absolute perfect. Obviously, there have been some questions about Sioane's future as well. Leverkusen are a side with big ambitions. They don't expect to be sitting bottom of the table after 3 games. But yeah, they came back with a performance that basically showed that they're still fighting for Sioane. And, I do believe that they will turn it round. I think actually early on in the game, I would say Mainz were the better side, to be honest with you. We know that Mainz are a very, very good home side in general. They like to kind of attack or play on the front foot. They had a couple of half chances through the form man on his Siwo. I think he's already on 3 or 4 goals for this season, isn't he? But yeah, he had a couple of chances early on in the game. Johnny Burkhardt as well, I think making his first start of the season. He'd missed the first 2 or 3 games through a knock. And ironically, it was actually him who, they didn't give it to him as an own goal, but to be honest, it should have been, shouldn't it, Rory? I mean, it was a shot from Palacios from absolutely miles out. It was going miles wide for me. And it hit Burkhardt, not quite on the line, but maybe a couple of yards out. It hits him hard. There's nothing he can do. And it ricochets past Zentner into the back of the net. And let's be honest, that was the bit of luck that Leverkusen needed. And that's what they got to get themselves in front in this game, because they probably didn't deserve to be in front at that point. But then they reacted exactly how you would want them to react, that's for sure. And it was that man, Diaby, who pretty much sealed the game round about the halfway mark, the half-hour mark. He absolutely brilliant, world-class piece of skill from him to completely take out Leach and Hack out of the game completely. A great little dummy, and he had Hack reeling. A good defender, Alexander Hack, as well, but he had him completely reeling. He ran through on goal, looked as though he would take the shot, but I often respect players who will square the ball, and that's what he did. He squared the ball for the kind of FIFA goal, as I often call it, really.
Yeah.
He's played the square pass across, and Frimpong, one of the stars of last season, was there just to tap home an empty net, really. Zentner was taken out of the game. And, I always respect a player who'll do that, because for me, most players will take the shot there. In Diaby's position, because he had a lot of time, a lot of space. He would definitely have hit the target, but he put his team first ahead of personal glory. And, absolutely fantastic football to make it 2-0. And then before long again, it was even 3-0. And it was that man Frimpong again. Mainz didn't defend well in this game at all, I'm going to be honest with you. And Leach and Hack both had good starts to the season, but this wasn't their day for either player. And once again, it was a mistake from Hack pretty much on the edge of his area. He gave the ball away to Frimpong, who did really, for a right back, he did outstandingly well to take the ball round goalkeeper Zentner and finish comfortably into the back of the net. The fans of Leverkusen were going crazy behind the goal. They realised they got the win sealed pretty much before half-time, didn't they? Then Rory, I guess the second half was pretty much of a procession, really, apart from a few incidents, really.
Yeah, obviously... Well, Svensson made, I think, 3 half-time changes in order to try and change the game in his side's favour. Not something that they're probably used to, being 3-0 down at home. They're such a good side that, does well in front of their own fans. And I guess they were given a bit of encouragement by the fact that Leverkusen obviously had a couple of men sent off, although the first of which, in Capier, was sent off with about 15 minutes to go. So I guess, relatively speaking, there wasn't maybe enough time to turn it around. Aaron Martin had a really good strike that hit the bar. Good effort from him. I think, again, as you mentioned, Mark Onisiwo had a chance where he where he fired wide basically on the turn. And I think there was a few other chances that Mainz did obviously push forward, but they obviously couldn't get the job done. And just in time for Leverkusen to, well, I mean, obviously they'll be buzzing that they got the win, but having 2 fullbacks sent off in the space of 15 minutes does not help you for the next week, does it? So in Capier, 2 yellow cards within the space of 15 minutes, I think it roughly was. And then Mitchell Bakker got himself sent off, the second of which was deemed to be a bit of an elbow in the face of, I can't remember who the Mainz player was, but yeah, that was very strange and not entirely ideal for Leverkusen, obviously going forward into their next game. But obviously the most important thing was them getting the 3 points. So yeah, they'll be thrilled with that. I think it was, oddly enough, probably the shock of the weekend in terms of, obviously not a lot of people would have backed Leverkusen on that form to go away to Mainz and win. So yeah, they're incredibly important that they've got their season up and running. They've got a big season ahead of them. Champions League football, obviously the group stage has already been drawn for them, so they'll be looking forward to getting stuck into that. And realistically, they do have a chance of getting out of that. So if they can turn their form around, get Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz is just so crucial to them, isn't he? Whatever they do positive, he is incredibly important. Good confidence boost for Diaby, obviously getting a really good assist. And obviously Frimpong was huge for them as well last season. So a couple of big players, if they can hit form over these next couple of weeks, then I'm sure they can still, rescue this season. I don't say that, obviously after 4 games, the season isn't lost by any stretch. But yeah, very much important win. Bit of a shock because Mainz have been so good away from home so early on this season. So really shocked by that. But Bo Svensson's men will come again, I'm sure, and get that home record back on track. So yeah, entertaining game and a much needed win for Leverkusen.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, Rory, about the 2 red cards, because I was following the scores and I was like, how can you get 2 red cards being 3-0 up? It is just clumsy, isn't it? Because, Bakker, he's not everyone's cup of tea, Bakker, but he does offer a lot from wing back. And he did make a couple of errors in the first half. He almost gave a goal. I didn't mention it actually to Widmer. I think at 0-0 actually. He made an absolute mess up of a high ball. And Widmer, my man, my fancy football man, he usually puts them away actually when he gets a chance in front of goal. But he kind of sliced it straight to the Herdatsky. But yeah, I think great result for Leverkusen. They're going to be happy. I think obviously Sioane is going to be feeling a lot better on that train home or that coach home or whatever they take these days. But yeah, good win for them. Mainz, as you say, nothing to worry about. They've already got 2 wins on the board very early on in the season. I'm sure they'll be back. It just wasn't a good day defensively for Mainz, really. That was the problem. And usually defense is like probably their strong point, you would say. So, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, let's move on. So, yeah, I guess there were 2 games where I think everyone really looking at the scores is going to know what our top 2 are. I think couldn't be anything different, really, could it? There were 2 absolutely brilliant games of football this weekend. And the first one of them, well, unless you're a Schalke fan, let's be honest. I don't think many Schalke fans will be saying this was a brilliant game of football, but they were involved with a 6-1 schooling at home against just that team that just, no matter what you throw at them, they just bring more and more and more, don't they? Union Berlin, they are just that team, probably one of the best run football clubs in Europe as far as I'm concerned. I think along with Freiburg, absolutely brilliant, the business they do. And it was actually one of their new signings who got them off the mark as well. They're probably their kind of marquee signing, really. Paid €5 million for Martin Thorsby. Let's be honest, not the best defending at all, was it, from Schalke? Very, very early on in the game. They'd actually made quite a positive start, but they just allow a header to come in from the side, don't they? They don't deal with it properly. And Thorsby just he gets ahead on it, but I don't really think he's going to score. But it just kind of like creeps into the back of the net, doesn't it, for his first goal for Union Berlin.
Yeah.
Obviously, fans going crazy right in front of the Union fans as well. I think there was a bit of an incident with a cameraman as well. Did you see that, Rory, where he kind of like slipped over and fell down a tunnel? There was a bit of concern. Really, after that first goal, there was a little bit of concern amongst the cameramen. But yeah, he recovered fine in the end. But actually, and then it was Schalke who were having most of the play after that. I think Bulter was causing quite a few problems. Even Terodde as well was causing a few problems. He's like a kind of Zweite Bundesliga legend, really, Terodde. Like every time we have the Zweite guys on, they always mention him, don't they? So I'm looking forward to seeing how he's going to do. But this wasn't his day, and that's for sure. He missed a few chances through headers, had a shot woefully screwed wide. But then there was a penalty shout a few minutes early for a handball, which was waved away. And then it was actually a penalty for handball that gave Schalke a way back into this football match. And I'm going to be honest with you, Union, they don't do a lot of stupid stuff. But Robin Knoche, what was he doing here? Like, it was just one of those long diagonal balls that came into the box. Usually it's bread and butter for the Union Berlin defense. But for some reason, Knoche's got his hand right up, hasn't he? And it just hits him. I think the ref's even thinking, come on, man, you can't give a penalty away for that. But he has to give a penalty, doesn't he, really? Because it's just, but it's absolutely clumsy, correct decision, even though it's as bad a penalty you're going to give away ever, really. And then that man, Marius Bulter, a good penalty taker, comfortably put it home for a 1-0. At the time, you'd probably say it was deserved, really, for the home side. But then they didn't remain parity for long, which has been the story of Schalke's last few years, really, hasn't it? Let's be honest. And it was that man, Geraldo Becker, one of my favourite players at the moment in the Bundesliga. But it was a bit of a scrappy one, wasn't it?
It was lucky, yeah.
It came in from Jordan, and then it just kind of hits Becker and just spins in past I'm going to be honest, he's a bit of a hapless goalkeeper, Schwoloff, really. He's not my favourite keeper in the Bundesliga.
He's in my fantasy team. What are you on about?
He was recommended to us. That's what he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I had him in the first week, and I didn't fancy him after the first game, to be honest. But yeah, he kind of, you're thinking, it's unlucky, but it's going very, very slowly towards the bottom corner. And could he get across a bit better, really? For me, yes, he could. It was a little bit unlucky, but that gives Union Berlin the lead again. And they never went on to kind of squander the lead. And actually, just before half-time, again, you could look at this third goal 2 ways, couldn't you, from Yannick Haber, who, by the way, has been a really good free signing from Freiburg as well so far.
Yeah.
He hits it brilliantly. He does really well. 9 times out of 10, these shots, when they come to you at the edge of the box, they sky them into rosette, don't they? He does absolutely brilliantly to get that really nice aesthetic strike where he hits it towards the goalkeeper, but I'm sorry, but Schwoloff has to be saving this. He gets both hands on it and still manages to palm it into the top of the net. And I think if you're Harbour, you're thinking you've scored a screamer. Do you know what I mean? And I don't blame him. I would celebrate that one like I'd scored a screamer as well. But if you're Schwoloff, you're just thinking, my God, what have I done? Because do you think I'm being harsh there, Rory, or do you think you should have saved it?
I think the only thing that you can probably say, I've only seen it probably from the one angle, but it might be that Schwolow sees it quite late, but obviously he's got to it. So, you know, maybe I'm making an excuse for him, but I think he can be counted. It depends, obviously, how harsh you're feeling, I guess. I think he's probably got unlucky on 2 occasions, but I understand what you're saying in terms of maybe another goalkeeper keeps them both out. Who knows?
He's got to save at least one of them. Come on. Keep them in the game at half time. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's obviously a killer going into the second half just before half time, isn't it? Yeah. So that makes it 3-1. Yeah. And three more goals would precede for Union. So what we had 4-1 after a good bit of play by Dodeki, who kind of powered a header into the path of Jordan Pifuk or Sibachu, but he lost the ball, but it fell really kindly again for Becker. So I'm kind of thinking a lot of these goals were kind of preventable, but also kind of lucky for Union in a certain way. But Becker finishes really well for 4-1. And obviously that's, if 3-1 wasn't game over, then obviously indeed that was. Thorsby then hit the crossbar after that as well. So more chances falling for Union. And then a late brace for the super sub, another super sub right now, especially for obviously Union since he's come back from his loan move, I think it was. So Sten Mitchell came on. The 5th goal was obviously it was a mistake from Schalke. The defender missed the long ball forward and Mitchell went through on goal and managed to kind of half scuff his finish. Past Schwolow for 5-1, and then there was still time for the 6th. Another long ball which was flicked on, and credit to Mitchell. This I think has to be the best of the 6 goals. His kind of half volley smashed it beyond Schwolow. Didn't have a hell of a chance with that one. Really clean strike to make it 6-1. But yeah, I mean, I think it's beyond kind of the point of saying now we're surprised by what Union are doing. They kind of just kind of feels natural now, doesn't it, that they are part of the furniture in that kind of top 7 or 8 teams in the Bundesliga. Like, it's kind of like a changing of the guard, I guess. Like, you know, going to Gelsenkirchen, Schalke was such a huge history in the German game, really well attended. Obviously, they're sorting themselves back out now, having been down in the doldrums and poorly run for the last few years. And you know, it'll take them a little bit of time to get themselves back to where they want to be. But Union are just, playing such good stuff and know how to get over the line. They're scoring goals. They were so good against Leipzig, and they've carried this form on to this weekend to really, really hammer it home against Schalke. So, you know, join top of the Bundesliga. What else can you say? Fantastic start from them. Long may it continue. And what about next weekend's game? Top of the table clash with Bayern Munich in Berlin. Doesn't get much better than that. So fingers crossed. Can Union continue their unbeaten record of 11 games, which I think is the longest running unbeaten run in the Bundesliga at the moment, and it's their breaking records that's the longest run they've ever gone on as well. So breaking records, us Fisher's men, sublime. Love what they're doing.
Yeah, they're just a ridiculous side, aren't they? And I think you were complaining to me, Rory, that Jordan, I still don't know what the Bundesliga always call him Jordan, but I've also heard Pifuk and Sibachu. I think we still need to settle on a name that we're going to call him, but he's not really scoring that many goals, but he's a real handful going forward. And I think he was one of the he was brilliant in this game, actually, just causing so much trouble for the Schalke back 4. You know, Yoshida, who I was actually kind of raving about, I thought he was a really good sign. He had a poor game, a really poor game. And I think his obviously centre-back partner, Thiaw, as well, also
just sold him as well.
Sorry?
Thiaw's just left as well, Schalke. I think he's gone...
Has he left as a result of that? Jeez, yeah.
I think he's gone somewhere else. He's definitely left the club on a transfer. I just forget the team that he's gone to. He might even be Nottingham Forest. Forest are signing him.
Really? Jeez, after that performance, I'm not sure anyone's getting a good deal, to be honest with you. But yeah, you know, Forest seem to love the Bundesliga, don't they? That's for sure. And I think a lot of leagues do, because, you know, there's a lot of good players in the Bundesliga. And yeah, but I think, this was a poor performance from Schalke, but I'll be honest with you, there are some concerns for them. I think apart from Salazar, I've not really seen that many players that have impressed me this season for them so far. And I think they are going to be down there. I think we decided that they probably would go down, didn't we, Rory? I think we had them and Bochum. Did we go for Bochum in the end on our predictions? I think, yeah, it's I know I had them to really struggle this year, because I thought Werder had a slightly better side, and it's proving that way as things stand, really. But Union is such a tough test, and I just think the way that they're prepared for games. Urs Fischer is one of the best managers in the Bundesliga, no question about that. He gets them fired up. He only signs players that are 100% behind the cause, and every year you see his signings coming good. Harbour has been good. I think Pifuk has also been good so far, even though he's not really got the goals necessarily, but he's been good, works hard, he's really fired up, and they're just a side that just never. I think also that the centre half has impressed me too. I quite like Diogo Leite as well, that they got from Portugal. I think he's looked good, very, very solid at the back, and it's just, they just always have the answers, don't they, this side, and they're going to have another really, really good season. I think Renault, the goalkeeper, is a really, really good replacement for obviously Luther, who was their long-term goalkeeper. It's just, they just really pull signings out of nowhere, don't they? And they show a lot of much bigger clubs how to operate a football club, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, yeah, let's move on. So, yeah, another fantastic game involving a newly promoted side as well. Seems strange talking about Werder as a newly promoted side, but they are. But they were beaten in this game in a very, very good game of football. This was a really, really enjoyable game of football, especially the first half, wasn't it? Which was just complete bedlam, really, for both sides. I think we saw the best of both sides in this first half, really. I'm going to say that. Yeah, it only took a couple of minutes to break the deadlock, and it was that man, Mario Götze, but I'm not going to give him the most credit for the goal, because for me, the credit has to go to who for me was the man of the match, Randall Kolo Muani. I do like him. I've seen him a couple of times so far this season. I think he's going to have a really big season. He's already keeping Bore out of the team, which is a bit worrying for Bore, but he deserves it as well from what I've seen so far. And he got an absolutely brilliant assist, just dribbles past like loads of Werder defenders, gets a really good ball into the centre, and Götze with a clean finish. But again, the goalkeeper has got to do a little bit better for me. It is quite central, and Pavlenka just kind of... yeah, he just lets it go through, doesn't he? Another keeper that isn't exactly top of my Christmas card list, Yuri Pavlenka, after his last stint in the Bundesliga. But yeah, this for me wasn't the best piece of goalkeeping, but it is a good goal from a Frankfurt perspective, that's for sure. It's a great assist, a great strike. Mario Götze's first goal back in the Bundesliga. Great to see him getting amongst the goals, but wasn't long before Werder were actually in front as well. So this was on 2 minutes, and by 18 minutes, Werder were already in front. The first one was just a kind of poor clearance out from the back from Frankfurt, and then a really good finish from Anthony Young. He just kind of hits it first time, like very, very nice into the bottom corner. Like it's one of those shots that has to be perfect unless the keeper saves it, but he kind of smashes it in. Werder fans are going crazy. Fantastic game so far. And then just a few minutes after that, it's just a kind of a harmless free kick really coming in from halfway inside the Frankfurt half. And it's actually Bittencourt with a looping header. It's not often you hear that, is it? I mean, it's I think it takes everyone by surprise, because Trapp seems to think it's going over the bar to me, and it just kind of dips just underneath. Not the best goalkeeping either there from Trapp. I'm going to be honest. I think he could have done a little bit better with that one, although I'm going in a bit hard on the goalkeepers.
You're on a mission tonight, you are.
But I've got to say, Werder, they've shown a lot of character so far this season. This was more character, and it makes me think, they've got more than enough to stay in the Bundesliga and maybe even finish round about mid-table from what I've seen so far. But it wasn't to be for Werder in the game. They did lead for just a few minutes. Actually, Kamada already had a goal disallowed, actually, before Frankfurt did eventually level. It was actually an offside against that man, Muani, just offside. It was one of them where a little bit unlucky from Frankfurt after a Kamada finish. But it was that man, Randall Kolo Muani, who got them level. And it was, again, brilliant play. Like, he kind of reminds me of Mark Viduka at his peak, really. He's not got much pace, but brilliant strength and dribbling. And he just goes past loads of defenders again, and he just finishes brilliantly. He just chips over Pavlenka, and he makes it look easy, doesn't he, for his first Bundesliga, no, actually his second Bundesliga goal, because he got his first against Bayern on the opening day of the season. Yeah, and I mean, he's already got a goal and assist inside 32 minutes. Fantastic for him. Then, that man Lindstrom misses a couple of chances. And we're just thinking, I was watching this game and thinking, Lindstrom, he's such a good player, but he just needs to work on his finishing. And sure enough, on 39 minutes, he produces one of his best Bundesliga finishes. Again, he's sent away. Pavlenka comes out, and it looks as though like it's not going to make it, but he chips the ball really high over Pavlenka, and it just kind of fits neatly into the bottom corner. It's a really good finish from Jesper Lindstrom, a player I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this season. And so as it happens, Frankfurt lead 3-2 at half time, and then Rory, the second half wasn't bad either, was it?
Yeah, it wasn't half bad. Yeah, absolutely agreed. So we got some early goal action straight into the second half. So any hopes for then of a Werder comeback were kind of diminished, as some good hold-up play in the box actually by Daichi Kamada. He teed up his, not his midfield partner, but one of the players that he plays in midfield with, which is Dibrul So, and he finished with aplomb, kind of like a top right-hand corner kind of curler, really well kind of placed and positioned, and obviously makes it 4-2. So Werder kind of turned to their bench, kind of looking for some impact from there to try and get themselves back into the game. So Buchanan, I think he came on and made an impact last week against Dortmund. He almost got himself on the score sheet, but he fired over from inside the box. The wing back Weiser, who's had a really good start to this season, also kind of almost flicked the ball into the back of the net as well. And dragged his shot wide. But it just didn't quite fall for Werder. As much as they were piling on the pressure, couldn't quite get that third goal early enough. But it would come, obviously, in the shape of a penalty. It was, I think it was Duschk who was fouled, and his forward partner, Nicholas Füllkrug, added to his goal-scoring tally from the penalty spot after the foul by Ndicka. And Ndicka didn't have a great game in terms of being involved in a couple of the Werder goals. So Füllkrug put that one away, but there was no fourth goal and no Werder comeback for the second week in a row after their heroics against Dortmund last week. So disappointing for Werder, but their first loss so far this season. They've not failed to score 2 goals or more so far this season as well. I think that's the one thing that I thought would have been a concern for Werder this season. Obviously, having seen Füllkrug kind of fail, in the main when he was in the Bundesliga 2 seasons ago with Werder. Duschk obviously has, had his good seasons in the Zweite Bundesliga, but he started well, although he hasn't kind of seen the rewards from a goal scoring point of view. He's had a good start to the season, and Werder have been really impressive. Obviously, being led by Bittencourt really well from that midfield perspective. So, yeah, impressed with what Werder have done so far. They'll consider themselves pretty unlucky not to get anything out of the game, but Frankfurt equally played quite well. I think it's the first time that we've really seen Frankfurt kind of cut loose in a way. But it's really good to see them scoring a few goals. And I think we expected Frankfurt to look like a really good team this season, didn't we? We had high expectations of them. Had a tough start to the season. It's not easy playing Real and Bayern in the space of 3, 4, 5 days. So they've got that out of the way, and hopefully they're going to start building some confidence. Kolo Muani, as you said, Mark, brilliant kind of goals and assists from this game. Looked like he was had a positive impact on the game when he came on actually in the Super Cup. He looked lively when he came on for Frankfurt. So I'm not surprised that he's had a really good impact so far on the Frankfurt team. It'll be interesting to see if they can maybe get him and Boré in the same team, but obviously that depends on the formation that Glasner wants to implement on the side. But yeah, really entertaining game on a Sunday afternoon. Perfect. Another perfect advertisement for the Bundesliga. But yeah, just a fantastic game overall. So no wonder it was first on our list.
Yeah, I definitely think for Frankfurt, it's mostly about trying to find like a starting 11 that obviously Glasner's happy with, because they have made quite a few signings, haven't they? I think one signing that we've not mentioned that I think could really improve the team is obviously Kostic. Obviously left, was it 2 weeks ago now? And they brought in Luca Pellegrini last week. And I think he had a really good debut. And I think he's some real quality at fullback that, to be honest, I think without Kostic, they were lacking a little bit, because, Lens isn't. He's not a world beater really for me, and I think they did need like a better, because you remember most of Frankfurt's good players always come down that left-hand side, haven't it? Like for years now with Kostic, and I think they did need a quality replacement for that. And I think Lens is a good backup, and obviously he does have some good games, but he's not like top level, is he, to start in this Frankfurt side. And I think Pellegrini is I think they got him from Roma, didn't he? So like it's a real kind of high profile signing really. And I think, Gertz is starting to find his feet a bit now. And I think if they can get Lindstrom back onto the form, and Kamada, I'm happy to see Kamada back in the side as well. I always like Frankfurt more when he's starting, and they have got quality off the bench as well, haven't they? They've got the likes of, Bore, Alario, Knauf also came off the bench, which is a bit surprising, but he hadn't had the best start to the season, really, let's be honest, so far. But yeah, definitely, I think Frankfurt can still go on and push for that top four, which is where they'll expect to be roundabout Europa League or Champions League places. Yeah, Blue, Danube, Joe. To me, Frankfurt are in the most open Champions League group. Yeah, we will be talking more about the Champions League in future weeks, and possibly doing some watch-alongs as well with that. But yeah, I think the fact that they obviously got the top seeding, it means that they're going to have a better chance, because they've avoided any. I mean, I know they play Spurs, but if they can turn Spurs over at home, then they're going to have a great chance of qualifying from that group. And I think it is possible they can qualify. And we do tend to see the best football in Europe, let's be honest, because, they didn't exactly have a cakewalk of a run to the Europa League last year, did they? They beat like Barcelona over to like a very highly rated West Ham side. I think some other strong teams as well.
The Spanish side, wasn't there?
Yeah, they did. Betis, who I think finished 5th or something in La Liga last year. So yeah, they beat some real quality sides. Now I think they can still enjoy a really good season this year. As for Werder, good start to them. As you say, Rory, I thought they'd be kind of low-scoring games with Werder, but it's been anything but so far.
Yeah.
Like, they've been the entertainers of the season, really, in many ways so far. And yeah, I think obviously new manager. We've not talked about him much, have we? No. Yeah, Olive Werner, but like he looks a bit of an animated character. He could be one to look out for this season. He seems to have the fans behind him, and I can't profess to knowing that much about him as of yet, but he seems to be popular with the fans and seems to bring an entertaining, vibrant style of football, which is certainly a far cry from the kind of dire days of Kofeld. Let's be honest. But yeah, anything else to add, Rory, before we close up?
No, I don't think so. I think just a nod to kind of some future shows that we'll be doing. Just to let you know, we may well possibly be doing a watch along on Friday. We'll keep you posted in regards to that one. Of course, we'll be bringing you our fantasy football full show on Thursday, so you'll get a full 30 minutes from that. So we'll be going from goalkeepers to strikers, and yeah, just another entertaining week of Bundesliga football, very enjoyable. So looking forward to Thursday and possibly Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you enjoyed what you saw today on the Bundesliga show, then check out at Over the Bar FB and at Over the Bar Extra, our Twitter channels. Remember to also check out our main site, which is otbfootball.net, where we've got more and more articles going up there every day about just about everything football related. Remember also to check out the Football League show on Friday nights as well. We cover Championship, League 1 and League 2. So for all of you lower league junkies, then you've got to check that out, that's for sure. 72 football teams covered in one show. So yeah, check that out, that's for sure. Okay, and yeah, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. As Rory said, we are really starting to make some nice progress on the subs channel, but also, as you say, from a fan's perspective, we'd also be happy if you guys commented. We've really improved this season as well. We've been really happy with some of the comments we've gotten. As I always say pretty much every week, we really enjoy interacting with like-minded fans as well, and people in the English community who want to talk Bundesliga. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the show again, and we'll see you again on Thursday, guys. Auf Wiedersehen. Bye-bye.
Cheers all.